Apple iPhone 4S, T-Mobile, Samsung Galaxy S2. It's dogfight time, starting right now. Here it is, that video you've been waiting for. Well, I don't know if you've been waiting for it, but it is the Clash of the Titans, two high-end devices, iOS versus Android, and more. Special thanks to our friends at Best Buy Mobile for hooking us up with a bunch of these types of phones for use in our One Paw Bandit game. When you go into Best Buy Mobile to get either of these, the iPhone 4S or the Galaxy S2, you'll walk out working. They'll help you set up your email, your web. So when you go in to get it, or you go in to get that for as an early Christmas gift for mom, they'll help you set up her email, her web, everything. So when she walks out that door, she's good to go. She's walking out working at Best Buy Mobile. But let's take a look at these. Messaging on both of these devices, we'll take a quick look because I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I want to show you the keyboard options. This is Apple's, obviously it's a proprietary keyboard. There are no other alternatives on the iPhone, but that said, this is the best on-screen keyboard I've ever used. Even on a 3.5-inch display, it's very quick and easy to type on, and I find that the sound complements it. So we can say, Fox is ready to go to the market to pick up a sandwich. So excellent spell correction, excellent autocorrect. You can see it was quickly changing the words as I was typing. And again, you know, this is going to be a device, this is one place where I'll make a rare exception. Usually if somebody's coming from a device like a BlackBerry, they're coming from a physical keyboard on maybe an Android device, and they're like, well, I'm considering iPhone, you know, would you recommend it? I do make an exception here and say yes, because even though it is a smaller display, it's only 3.5 inches, which usually I'd say, hey, go with a bigger one like a 4.5, 2-inch display, because you can see how much easier it is to type on screen. I don't think you have the problem here. I think the autocorrect is fantastic. The keyboard's very easy to learn and get used to. It's won several accolades and awards for the prediction and just for the overall ease of typing. So it's fantastic here. You can also use Siri. You'll notice the keyboard here is split with the 1, 2, 3 key, and then Siri, so I can say, how are you doing? And it should easily translate here. Yeah, I can say, how are you doing? So, and again, it's running pretty quickly because I have had some 3G data issues on Sprint. So it's pretty neat there. You can use Siri if you want to. You can also use Siri from its actual menu. Text message, Old Man Baker.
Here's your message to Old Man.
And you could say pretty easily, I guess it's Old Man in my contacts, but you can see easily able to be typed from there or from Siri as well. So let's take a look here.
When the screen is on, just raise the phone to your ear and start talking.
Okay, thanks. And then you have over here you have the Samsung keypad, and then you have swipe as well. So you get two different input options here. Samsung's keypad I don't care for, but there are plenty of third-party options available from Android market because it's all about openness. So you can get the gingerbread keyboard, you can get Swift key, and many more through the Android market. So you can say the Quick Brown Fox. Let's say I don't have the autocorrection turned on, but the Quick Brown Fox is happy. And easy to use in portrait and easy to use in landscape. This 4.5 2-inch display is great. You know, it's going to be a little bit bigger in the pocket, but it's great for when you're typing, great for when you're watching videos, fantastic for when you're browsing the web, and more. So on that note, let's take a look at the web itself. Now this is one of T-Mobile's 4G devices. It runs HSPA plus 42 megabits per second. So this device can reach theoretical speeds of 42 megabits per second. You'll never see that on this device. That's a theoretical number, and it's a very high one at that. But what I will say is I've seen speeds in both the Charlotte and San Diego metro areas between 6 and 12 megabits per second. So decent speeds by all counts, and you can see PhoneDog loads up pretty quickly. We've got full service here. I have the 4G capabilities, and you can see how it looks there. Now again, you can just see these kind of quirks. I mean, I was just pinching it in and out, and you saw how it kind of spazzed a little bit and went back to the preview tab like that. But pinch to zoom overall on this device, pretty quick. You can see some lag a little bit here and there, but when it's working pretty quickly, but every now and again it stutters like you saw. So easily transitions from portrait to landscape thanks to a relatively fast dual-core processor. And then you have this one, and to me, in all honesty, you know, again, I really love this display. 4.52 inches. It's so great for when you're browsing the web, but in terms of fluidity, you can just see the difference on the 4S. I mean, it's just a very fluid performance, and yes, it doesn't support Flash, which is, you know, a downside. It is HTML5, which is, you know, a little bit of a con if you use Flash on a regular basis in your mobile browser. But again, this fluidity is a key with iOS, and it's something for somebody that, you know, wants to come home and use their device and not worry about quirks or things like that. Yeah, this has a super large display that I love using, but in terms of fluidity, you can't beat this. You have the typical iOS stuff down here, back and forward. You have the ability to go here and kind of see your preview and add a new page if you want to, and I can quickly transition back. But again, if one thing you'll notice is very consistent, even if you hate iOS, one thing you have to give it credit for is it's a very consistent performance. You can see here, consistent, no lag whatsoever, no stuttering, quick and easy to use. Whereas I feel with Android, I love this screen. There's so many benefits, but one of the cons to me is the lack of consistency on this device. And then you can go over here to Windows if you want to add a new window and do the same thing, and then it'll show you right where you left off. So that's a pretty cool little feature. Let's see if we can get in a quick speed test, because I want to show you Sprint's 3G has been having some network issues. So obviously you can get this device on AT&T, on Verizon, on Sprint, and on C Spire, which is a regional carrier coming soon. On November 11th, I believe you can get it on C Spire. So we'll go ahead and run these tests just really quickly, because there's so much I want to cover and not enough time. So let's get in here and take a look at the speed test. But you can see the relatively quick HSPA plus speeds I've seen over the course of a couple of weeks with this device, 10.22 megabits per second. So I've been impressed with those. Again, though, whenever I run these tests, I find that the speed test gods kind of hate me, so it may be a poor speed. But you can see even Sprint speed, that's actually better than what I've been getting on this device. I reset it, so I can't show you all the speeds, but I'll show you what I got a minute ago. So that's actually not as bad as it's been, about 370 kilobits per second, 0.37 megabits per second. So definitely pretty frustrating, and with a device like this is an always-on data device. Trying to download apps or check the weather or use maps or anything that's data related is going to be pretty frustrating on the Sprint device. So obviously, in order of speed, if speed's your thing, go with AT&T. If reliability is your thing, I'd say go with Verizon. I haven't had any dropped calls on the Verizon one. If you're looking for the best value, I'd say go with Sprint. So that kind of gives you an unofficial guide to which one. And again, that mileage may vary. It may not be the best in your city, but based on the metro areas I travel to, and that's about 12 different ones per year, that's been the overall experience. You can see about 0.10 megabits per second there a little bit earlier during rush hour. And then over here, again, still not HSPA plus speeds, but you get a rough idea. I've definitely seen it faster than 1.82. I've seen it as high as 6, 10, and even 12. So something to keep in mind pretty quickly. Now, the one thing where iOS wins out is the media ecosystem. And before I go into that, actually, I want to show you App Store here so we can take a look at what it looks like. App Store versus Android market. This is a dogfight battle after all, gosh darn it. So we're going to show both of these markets, and you can see the data speeds here. This is another place where it really takes its toll. You can see these take quite some time to load up. But here you go, and this is one thing. I think Android market is grouped much better. I like the fact that apps, games, books, and movies can all be downloaded, or films, as the European version says, can all be downloaded from one easy-to-use application. But over here you have new, what's hot, and Genius. It's been relatively the same for several generations, so whether you're using an iPod Touch, an iPhone, or perhaps even an iPad, it's pretty quick and easy to navigate. So you get your top 25 over here. So we'll go into Angry Birds, for example, and then we'll go into over here. We'll take a look at Angry Birds as well, which is a different version, but just to give you an idea of what it looks like in comparison. Over here, 99 cents, I've got my star rating. I can see it in the Game Center. I can download by clicking either one of those, and I can see top in-app purchases, my description. Over here, it gives me some screenshots right at the top of the page. I've got what's new, and then here are my screenshots on iOS. I can keep scrolling down. The ratings, tell a friend, give this app, or report a problem, and then some of the company information as well. So it's pretty smooth and pretty light on the information over here. It's kind of all bunched together on Android, but I do like the format of this much better. And when I go to download, you can see it's quick and easy to use. It shows me what the network permissions are needed, and then here it'll bring up my Apple ID and allow me to download it. Now, the one thing I don't like is it constantly times you out of the Apple ID. So if you download an application, you're waiting 10 or 20 minutes, you go to download another one, well, it's going to ask you to put in your password again in the App Store. So I understand it's for security reasons, but still, that's kind of frustrating as opposed to Android, where you can just hop in there, download something really quickly, and be right back out. So that's a little bit of a con. Also, automatic app updating in the Android market is a big pro. So I can go in here and take a look at what I have installed, my apps, and you can see, let's go and find one really quickly. I can say Google Maps, for example. I have automatic updating checked. So whenever there's an update to Google Maps, it'll auto-download the update to my market or to my device. Not the case with this. With the App Store, it just shows a little 3 or 4 or 5 and a little red circle when there's an app that's ready to be updated. So it's a little bit of a pain in the rear end to constantly be updating your apps, and kind of an eyesore when you see that big red 1, 2, 3, or 4 down there. But one place I have to give iOS credit. And outside of the App Store, they've done a killer job with that, and they've really spurred competition. The media ecosystem is still second to none on iOS. If music is your thing, the iTunes integration, this is going to be your device if music and media is important to you. Now they've made some improvements over here. You'll notice that Google Music is available in the Android market. So, and I believe it, if I recall, it's in open beta now. So you should be able to download it. If not, I'm sure plenty of you have friends that have it available for download. So you can go over here, you can download Google Music, you can sync it up with your computer, with your iTunes on your computer, and it presents kind of an online way for you to listen to your music. You can download various tracks for offline use. It's just not as intuitive as something like this, particularly with iCloud, because I can go in here and see iCloud, for example, and I've got that right here, and I have the ability to synchronize my contacts, my data, my music, and more. So a combination of that and the fact that iTunes supports it, when you set this up and you have iTunes 10.5 on your computer, you can synchronize all of your old iTunes music between your computer and between your phone. So it's just a flawless ecosystem they've really done a great job between iCloud and that. So, with any iTunes music, and let's be honest, a lot of people use iTunes. The iPhone's going to be the better choice in terms of ease of use, in terms of easily being able to access your music. So there are workarounds. Google Music is a workaround in Android, but that's a place that they really knock it out of the park on iOS as opposed to Android. Media ecosystem still second to none on this device. Let's take a quick look at cameras. 8 megapixels on both of these devices, and I'll show you what it looks like. Camera would like to use current location. Sure. Photo stream, yes. Photo stream, you can synchronize with iCloud and keep a running tally of all your pictures. We're going to take a picture of the iPhone box. That'll be a fair comparison. So we're going to say later, and we'll bring it in so we can see the side here. And wait for it to focus. Again, 8 megapixels, 1080p HD video recording. Limited editing options, though, outside of grid or HDR, which is a high dynamic range. So there's that one. And we'll bring this one up as well. So no physical camera button on either of these devices. You're going to rely on the focus on the screen, or you can press and hold. Wait for it to focus in. And here are your 2 pictures. Now, out of an unofficial picture test, this is nothing official by any means. The better picture, in my opinion, is the iPhone 4S. Now, again, 1080p, take a look at those samples on PhoneDog.com, because I did find that this has a decent 1080p camera, as does this. But you can look at the camera here, take a look and zoom in on iPhone, for example. And it's just a much better, higher resolution quality picture over here, as opposed to this one. I find that the lighting is a little bit better as well. So better picture quality on this. They took a great camera and made it even better on the iPhone 4S. Now when this is pitted up against the Amaze 4G on PhoneDog.com, which HTC touts as having the best camera, we'll see which one wins. So that's our dogfight. One of these has to be declared a winner, and this is probably one of the hardest ones I've ever done, because it used to be pretty easy, because iOS was very fluid, very seamless, but they kind of missed it a little bit with the iPhone 4S. Same design, no real changes to the way it looks. There's some minor evolutionary upgrades, just like from the 3G to the 3GS, but Android's just killing it when it comes to releasing devices. They're killing it. They're launching new devices that are more powerful, and they've caught up pretty quickly. Now, that said, the winner of this dogfight is still the iPhone 4S, just by a narrow margin. I'll tell you why. The smaller screen is a frustration here. The battery life being a little bit worse is a frustration, and the design being the same, I think, is kind of disheartening to people that carried it for a year. They're like, I got to carry this device again? It's exactly the same. What is the real winner to this device? Media integration and the media ecosystem. The App Store is still second to none. iTunes integration is fantastic. And now that you have iCloud capabilities, so you can sync everything to the cloud, you have the iTunes capabilities on your computer, where I can easily download, if I can put a song on my iPhone and it pops up on my iTunes on my computer, or vice versa, and it automatically downloads it. That's a cool feature. That media ecosystem is second to none. So if media, music's your thing, perhaps movies, things like that, iOS is going to be your one. If Gmail support's your thing, if you like Google services, Google Docs, things like that, and you're okay with using kind of a workaround like Google Music, Android's going to be your one. They're both great devices. And in all honesty, features aside, I think you'll be happy with either one of them. Much more coverage to come on PhoneDog.com with both of these devices. The Apple iPhone 4S, T-Mobile Samsung Galaxy S2 on PhoneDog.com. Be sure to follow us on Facebook. Give us a like. We'd certainly appreciate it. Facebook.com/PhoneDog. We're always doing cool contests. We're always on there. So check it out and like us. Facebook.com/PhoneDog. Let me know on Twitter. You think I'm the craziest Apple fanboy ever. You think I'm on Apple salary because I recommended an Apple device. Well, heaven forbid that I actually do that. But follow me on Twitter, PhoneDog_Aaron. Just let me have it. Let me know what you think. You think I'm stupid? You think I'm awesome? You think I'm the best reviewer ever? PhoneDog_Aaron on Twitter and on Facebook at Facebook.com/PhoneDogAB. Thanks so much for watching. Keep it locked on PhoneDog.com for continuing coverage and more dogfights with this and some of the high-end Android devices on the market. We'll see you next time.